St. Urban, Australia, Sunday. Dear Vera, thank you for your last. I noticed you started it on the Monday and finished it on the Friday. Is that because it was an awful chore, or did you mislay? I hope it was the latter, although I wouldn't wish memory loss on anybody, not even my worst enemy. You'd think I was gaga the way my daughter Leslie goes on when I can't think of a word. And speaking of gaga, how on earth can you compare possum piddle to rabbit pellets? Do you think we have a hole in the ceiling for it to poo through? Its number ones came dripping down on my head when I was writing last time, not its number twos. I can't believe I'm having to write this and be so explicit, trust you. We've had Pete the possum round twice now, but it just seems to find its way in again. They put a trap in the attic with a bit of apple as bait. You know when it's been caught because it bangs the cage about like Billy-O. The first time it happened I thought we'd got burglars and I phoned the police. I did feel a fool. Thank you for the photograph of Sabrina. What a sweet little girl she's proving to be, and so like her granny. She certainly got your nose. Here's one of Cheryl Marie taken at a fancy dress. She's the one dressed as little Bo Peep. She's such a little actress and yet so practical. See how she'd taken the telescope from Captain Cook to look for a sheep. Captain Cook was the Englishman who discovered Australia, but if you ask me, it couldn't have been very difficult. After all, the Aborigines had already been living here for thousands of years, so they must have found it easily enough. I've just returned from another wonderful day out with Vincent. He's such a lovely man and such good company. He won't let me do a thing for myself when we're together. He even opens the car door for me and makes sure I'm settled nicely before he goes all the way round to get in himself. The only time Clive did that was once when we were courting, and then he slammed the door on my leg. Vincent keeps talking about us going away for a weekend, but I don't know how Leslie would manage without me if we did. She's out at work so much, poor dear, that we hardly ever see each other. We communicate by notes. It's not so much like having a daughter, it's more like having another pen pal. I had a super postcard from your daughter Karen from Saint-Tropez telling me all about her exciting news. I bet you can't wait, and Sabrina must be over the moon. I often worry about Cheryl Marie being an only. Leslie was, of course, and I'm afraid she got very spoiled as a result. Don't be worried about Karen's new beau, Damon, being wayward. As I said to her in my last, this might be just the thing to settle him down. All for now. Hope this finds you as it leaves me, pleasantly exhausted after a thoroughly enjoyable day. Fondest thoughts, Irene.
Lodge 202, Far Shores Trailer Park, Friday. Dear Vera, Irene. I'm so upset I forgot my own name now. Thank you for informing me in your last of Karen's exciting news. It was certainly more than she had bothered to do. Odd to be told of your daughter's pregnancy via Australia when she's living 20 yards away. We have the speed of technology to thank for that, I suppose. Thank goodness I don't have email, or I could have known before she did. She hasn't spoken to me since I confronted her with your letter, but Sabrina came back from school demanding a home computer, so I've had to communicate with Damon. He's as pleased as a pit bull terrier with two tails. He's already making a list of names and has started to call me mother. I hope this doesn't find you as it leaves me, hurt and confused. Yours, Irene. Vera. Saturday. Dear Howard, I am writing to tell you, since I'm sure Karen won't, really, when I think of the money I've wasted on joined-up writing tuition, that we are to have an addition to the family. You will soon be the proud uncle of a boy called Dale or Liam or Vinny. I dread to think what the poor mite will be named if she's a girl, but Damon doesn't entertain the possibility. I only found out by a chance remark from Irene, proof as ever that Karen cuts me cruelly out of her life. It'll be a different story when she wants baby clothes or a babysitter. Sorry, dear, if I'm sounding depressed. Sometimes I think the world has changed in such a bewildering way I no longer feel a part of it. Hope you and Anthony are happy, at least, with the sheep. Mumsy. Monday, dear Ms. Matthews. I understand from my granddaughter Sabrina Small that to keep abreast of her studies she must have a state-of-the-art computer with built-in modem, fax and heliport. I am an OAP on an inadequate fixed income. Has Tony Blair considered people like us in his enthusiasm for IT, I wonder? And I'm at a loss to know where to turn. Are there any grants available? Yours sincerely, Vera Small.
Thursday. Dear Vera, I'm very worried about you. You seem absolutely distraught. In fact, you must be to send me all your other correspondence in your last. I'm sending back the ink because I don't know Sabrina's school's address, but I forwarded Howard's letter to him at Sheep Dippers. I've also taken the liberty of writing a little note to Karen in the hope of pouring oil on troubled waters. Now, come on, chin up, look at the positive. I've been reading all about it in one of Leslie's many self-help books that she bought when she was going through the divorce. You count your blessings, write them down. You'll be surprised how they add up. Oh, dear, I was going to help by starting a list, but it's time for tennis, so you'll have to do it on your own. Probably more therapeutic anyway. Cheerio for now and get on with that list. Sending love and encouraging thoughts. Irene. Kiss, kiss. 19 Byron Street, St. Urban, Melbourne, Thursday. Dear Howard, your mother sent the ink to me in error, so by the time you get this, what with the post, you'll have been waiting a couple of weeks for a reply. She seems in a terrible state, and I really think she needs a break from trailer park life. Couldn't you and Anthony have her to stay for a little holiday? I know she can be difficult, but I do think it sounds like a real cry for help, don't you? Would you let me know how she seems when you see her? Fondest regards, and also to Anthony, Irene Spencer. Thursday, dear Karen. Here at last are the booties I promised. I made them in unisex yellow, as you can see. I told your mum about the baby, as you asked, and you were right, it did come as a bit of a shock, but I'm sure inside she's as thrilled as you are. I think it might have helped if you'd told her that you and Damon were an item, as you call it, from the start. I think she thought of him as her special friend. She often mentioned him in her letters, so there may have been a little bit of jealousy there, just a thought. Anyway, dear, I know you try to be kind and patient with her, and of course I don't think you were selfish to move out of the caravan and leave her on her own. I spent several weeks cooped up in a dormobile with her when we toured the continent, don't forget, and I thought I'd end up in the funny farm. Take care, and love to Damon. Lots of love and hugs. Reen. Kiss, kiss, kiss.
Middle Parks, Middle Piddle, Wuss, Wed. Dear Irene, enjoying a few days at magical Middle Parks. It was Sabrina's half-term, and what with everything, I felt I needed a break, so I cashed in a little insurance policy, and we just took off. Sabrina is having a fine old time with all the activities, and I am basking in the indoor sun, so much more reliable than the real thing, and I believe less damaging. You would know all about that in Australia, of course. Doesn't it hold the world record for skin cancer? Hope you're not economising with the sunblock on your tennis outings. One looks a fool with all those white stripes, but better safe than sorry. You've probably written in reply to my last, so this may cross with it, but I just wanted to put your mind at rest that I'm feeling much better. What with the aromatherapy massage, my neighbour Yasmin's instructions, and leisurely drinks round the pool. Just popped on a sarong. I'm sure you've discovered them so comfortable. To go for one now. A charming widower here has invited me for tropical cocktails. I enclose a couple of postcards so you can see the luxuriant foliage. Love, and thanks for being a good, albeit distant friend, Vera. Thurs, dear Howard, just a quick postcard from our lovely residence. I never imagined a log cabin could be so comfortable. A huge bath and no need to wrestle with gas cylinders. I could stay here forever. Sabrina sends love, as I do, Mumsy.
Very late on Saturday night. Dear Vera, thank you for the letter. I'm so relieved you seem to be feeling better. I was quite worried about you. Depression is an awful thing, isn't it? Or so I suppose. I've never suffered from it myself, fortunately. Since I last wrote, I have joined a creative writing class for senior citizens. It's funny, isn't it? I have to come the other side of the world to do things I could have been doing all along at home, playing tennis, penning poems, but one just doesn't seem to get round to it in the normal run of things. I suppose it's that knowing so few people here, there aren't the usual distractions. Apart from looking after Cheryl Marie full-time, that is. Leslie's had to go away for a week on a course now. Her boss seems to think a great deal of her. He came to pick her up personally in his car to run her out to the airport. I can't seem to get to sleep tonight, so I've been having a bit of fun alone, opening up a few bottles of the Victorian wine Leslie bought me and doing blind tastings. I don't know if I'm getting any better at it. They all seem to taste nice to me, but it passes the time. Oh, well, I'll try to sleep again. At this rate, Cheryl Marie will be up before I've gone to bed. Hope you're still feeling the benefit of your holiday. Fond regards, Irene. P.S. Couldn't sleep, so penned this poem, Enk. Reflections in the Dead of Night, a poem by Irene Spencer. Looking up at the coal-black sky, I see my life and wonder why. Why did I do this? Why did I do that? E.g., why did I buy that hat? It looked so pretty in the shop, with bows a-quiver, brim a-flop. What happened on the way back home to change it to a shapeless dome? And isn't that a lot like life, when you cut it apart with a surgeon's knife? How oft do we rush after new fool's gold, instead of treasuring the trusty old?
Lodge 202, Far Shores Trailer Park, Saturday. Irene! Arrived home to crossed letters and crossed wires. What on earth did you say to my son Howard and daughter Karen after my confidential disclosures? Whatever it was has released a maelstrom. Howard was convinced I'd run away to live in a log cabin. It was a cry for help, and I was in a terrible state, as I am jealous of Karen's relationship with Damon. They all agreed I'd gone completely round the twist and absconded with Sabrina. I was lucky to escape arrest. They've had the police out scouring the country and hourly bulletins on national radio. It was only the peace and seclusion of Middle Piddle that kept me from knowing about it. I've explained to the police that I left a note under the door of Damon's trailer, and his blasted pit bull terrier must have chewed it, but they refused to believe me. They are now considering prosecution. Judging by the doggerel you enclosed, I can only assume you got carried away by the creative side of your writing. Either that or you've been indulging in too many blind tastings. If this is what you call treasuring the trusty old, I'd rather not be one of them. Karen is demanding I give Sabrina back, though she, of course, wants to stay with me, and I'm now to be assessed by social workers. A Ms. Clinch is coming to make a home visit. Don't write again unless it is to offer something in mitigating circumstances, Vera.
St Albans, Melbourne, Australia. Dear Vera, The Judgment of the Damned, a poem by Irene Spencer. One day, alas, 'twill be all too soon, I will stand in the line to be judged. To one side will go the souls that are clean, to the other the souls that are smudged. What is your crime, my Maker will say, his voice sending ice down my spine. Will you be going along with old Nick, or are you a daughter of mine? I'll tell him of when I was far from home, of the letters that crossed on the sea, of the misunderstandings, the heartache I caused. I will tell him of Vera and me. And when I am finished, the Lord's voice will lift to Lucifer, keeper of hell. Forget it, he'll say, she's coming with me, for her sin was just loving too well. But alas, that is fantasy, only a dream. I am still in the state known as life. If only my heart cries my friend was like God, forgiving and staying her knife. I meant well, my friend, cannot mercy be mine? Can I not make your heart feel a sway? If sackcloth and ashes could undo the harm, dear Vera, I'd wear them each day. With love from Irene. Kiss.
Farshaw's Trailer Park, Monday, dear Irene. I was stunned by your recent missive. How long have you been having conversations with God? I showed it to my psychic next-door neighbour, Yasmin, and she asked if you've ever thought of the laying on of hands. I said, as far as I knew, only on gullible widowers. I don't know what to make of the sentiments expressed, but it's obvious to me all this Australian wine tasting you've spoken about has taken you over completely. If you really want help, get off the viniculture and into the sackcloth and ashes. Since you are on such intimate terms with God, I need you to intercede for me, urgently. My fate is in his hands and your knees. The social worker, Ms. Clinch, is paying her home visit on Friday, and if we fail to live up to her expectations, whatever they may prove to be, she may take my granddaughter Sabrina away from me and give her back to her awful mother. Or should I say, she who used to be known as my daughter Karen. Vera.
St. Urban, Melbourne, Australia. Tuesday. Dear Vera, I hope you don't mind me calling you that. I don't think we've ever met, but my mum Irene talks so much about you that I feel I know you. I've been having to deal with her mail recently, and your last note sounded pretty urgent, so I thought I'd better reply. Mum has been under a bit of strain lately, and I've had to admit her to a private clinic I managed to find upstate. Nothing major, just a little breakdown. You know how nervy she can get. Maybe it's been too much for her having to look after Cheryl Marie. Oh, I don't know. You think you're doing her a favour, making her feel needed, and then she pulls a stunt like this. As it is, I had to take a couple of days off work to sort everything out, and I've hired an au pair. So when they let Mum out, she'll be able to go back home to England. I'll let you know when that is, as I'm sure you'll want to pick her up from the airport, you two being such old friends. I'll pass on your letter when I next visit her, if she's up to focusing again. All the best. Leslie Crabtree, née Spencer.
Lodge 202, Farshaw's Trailer Park, Saturday. Dear Leslie, how nice to have personal contact with you at last after all this time. Of course I feel I know you well, too well on occasions, from all your mother's comments. But I'm sure in real life you are very different. Actually, we did meet once at your wedding. You looked magical in your princess dye frock, all pink and giggly. You may not remember, you were quite tipsy from the wine. I understand from Irene you have a lot of it in Oz, so I hope you still enjoy it as much as she does. Speaking of which, I'm so sorry to hear about Irene. I blame myself, of course. I should have paid more attention. Friends can tell each other things they'd never admit to their daughters, and she might have confided her problem. Where, I wonder, did she get hold of the substances? Surely not at the tennis club. Here it would be no problem. A trailer park is like a pharmacy, except it doesn't stock hot water bottles. I've been having my own troubles with health, in this case environmental. I won't bore you with the details. It's all to do with the suitability of my home for my own dear little granddaughter, Sabrina. Really, 4 fire extinguishers in 15 square feet should be enough, but no, it's fireproof doors and fireproof sheets. It's not as though Sabrina or I smoke in bed. A rather unpleasant Ms. Clinch descended with her stormtroopers and stripped the place, looking for goodness knows what. They went through Sabrina's hair for nits, made a list of the contents of the fridge, and took a sample for analysis from the toilet. You'd think that if a child was well fed, clean, happy and loved, it would be enough, but not, it seems, compared to the contents of the Elsan. I haven't heard their decision yet, and I must say I'm living on the edge of an abyss. And I'm not talking about the Elsan. Don't give Irene my last note. It might push her into one. I'm enclosing another, and a postal order for flowers, something pastel, which I'm sure you'll be kind enough to purchase. Do let me know how she goes on. Best regards, Vera. Dear Irene, I am sorry to hear about your breakdown. Has God been appearing to you again? Or was it a contretemps with your boyfriend Vincent? I never felt right about him. He was altogether too good to be true, especially the teeth. Anyone of that age who tells you they are all his own is either a freak of nature or lying. Leslie tells me you are coming home, and to be honest, I'm glad. Australia's too far away, and by the sound of it, dangerous. You'll be fine once you're back. At least English madness is familiar. Do write as soon as you can tell a pen from a knife. All my love, Vera. P.S. My psychic neighbour Yasmin says try to record your hallucinations.
Room 101, Woollaboola Wellbeing Clinic, Woollaboola. Dear Vera, please come and rescue me. I'm sure I shouldn't be in here. Everybody is mad. A woman with a nasty face has visited me once, claiming to be my daughter. She brought me some bright pink and purple flowers that looked like ladies' unmentionables, and your note. Who is she? Is she one of them? They give me pills that make me feel funny, and one time tried to toast my head in a machine. I'm not sure how long I've been here, but I think it could be about 10 years. I am sending hallucinations for Yasmin in blank poetry form. Thankfully, we have creative writing therapy here. I hope she enjoys them better than me. The drugs trolley is coming. I've got to hide. I'll expect you tomorrow. Bring wine. Love, Irene. P.S. Who is Vincent? Is he one of them too? Hallucinations for Yasmin by I. Spencer. Yellow men with funny fingers, purple polyps on my nose, frilly fringes
in my eyebrow, wires and spikes and all things nice.
Rats as big as full-moon craters leaving dentures on my bed, howling winds and grinning mices. The cork's in the bottle, the cork's in the bottle, the cork's in the bottle, and he can't get out!
Dear Irene, pull yourself together. You're behaving like a loony. In fact, you are a loony. Never mind the pills. If you carry on like this, they will have you in a straitjacket. Believe me, I know. The number of times Karen's tried to have me sectioned. Looking back over our recent correspondence, it occurs to me your troubles all come from the bottom of a glass. Many bottoms. You, Irene, are an alcoholic. There, I've said it. Take the medication. It will return you to normal. Well, as normal as can be expected. I'm sure you're hiding it in very inventive places. I haven't forgotten how cunning you were when you fell out with my cooking. I was convinced I was housing a giant rat when I found a rissole abandoned in the saucepan cupboard. My psychic neighbour Yasmin says to tell you that she feels a ruby-red aura around you, which is causing the distress. She is sending you absent healing. Meanwhile, she says, meditate on the crystal enclosed and try rubbing it on your purple polyps. Try and focus on the good things in your life, apart from the wine, that is. Above all, keep the cork in the bottle. Tough love, Vera.
St. Urban, Melbourne, Australia. Dear Vera, thanks for your letter of a few weeks ago, and I hope you don't mind, but I read the note you sent Mum. The alcoholic bit made a lot of sense to me. She drained a dozen bottles of wine I bought her for her birthday in a couple of days. She told me she'd spilt them. Anyway, it seemed to make sense to her too when she read it, and although it made her very upset at first, soon afterwards she seemed to pull herself together and make steady progress, which the clinic was very pleased with. Until this latest bombshell happened. The clinic phoned last night to tell me Mum has gone missing. Apparently, a woman calling herself Karen turned up, claiming to be Irene's friend Vera's daughter. She had a man with her that the manager described as a gorilla, called Damon. The next thing the staff at the clinic knew was that they'd disappeared, apparently taking Mum with them. I don't mind. It was costing an arm and a leg to keep her in there. And anyway, apparently they were going to discharge her today, but I just thought you should know. Since I imagine they'll be taking her back to England, I've packed up the rest of Mum's things and she'll be having them shipped across later in the week to her home address. Unfortunately, it's most of her clothes, and it'll take a couple of months to arrive, what with customs checks in both countries. Anyway, if you hear from her before I do, will you tell her they're on their way? Thanks for your help. Irene's daughter, Leslie.
The Outback, Thursday or Friday of this week. Dear Vera, I'm free! Your daughter and son-in-law to be are my heroes. Feeling so much better, and I'm off the booze. Thank you for bringing me to my senses, old friend. I'm still taking the tablets, which Karen managed to find in the clinic drugs trolley in a bottle labelled Irene Spencer. Talk about a coincidence. Anyway, they make me a bit tired and not quite sure of the date. See above. But at least now I'm getting the week right. Please thank your friend Yasmin for the absent healing, which seems to have worked a treat. I didn't know what to do with the crystal, though. I've never had a polyp in my life, purple or otherwise. Shall be coming home soon, but Damon said we should lie low for a while in case they've staked out the airports. Sounds a bit paranoid to me. Still, he seems to know his way round a billy can, so we're living well, if rough. Karen is well. She's so pregnant and huge that we tell her she looks like the kangaroos, which at the moment are our nearest neighbours. See you soon, I hope. One step at a time. I am an alcoholic. There, I've said it too. Lots of love, Irene.